Today, I'm breaking down 5 running backs going outside the top 9 rounds over on Yahoo Fantasy, round 10 or later, something the kids might call sleepers out here. Truly a great day to be great. So let's get things started with running back number 1, Jonathon, with an O, spell his name right, people. Jonathan Brooks from the Carolina Panthers, obviously the first running back taken in the 2024 draft class. So a little bit of a big deal, some might say. Unfortunately, just haven't seen much of him over the past 2 years because sadly, the man's knees have not been holding up their end of the bargain. That said, guys, Dr. Jeff Mueller does great work over at Fantasy Points. You should definitely follow him on Twitter at JMThrivePT. Got that memorized because of how much I reference this dude's work. But per a real life doctor on Brooks's, again, second ACL tear that he suffered in 2024, but maybe a little bit more like the first got re-aggravated. So again, from Dr. Mueller, quote, "I'm not viewing this as a typical player blank had 2 ACL tears, he's cooked. Rather, I'm viewing it as the first procedure failed, but the second procedure is significantly stronger and should allow him to return to form this time around. Everything we've heard through OTAs into training camp seems to signify that Brooks is back at something very close to 100%. And it does seem like a situation where he's being priced around handcuffs or pure backups, but he actually has the opportunity to eventually snatch Chuba Hubbard's chain." Okay, so I don't want to act like Chuba is a fraud or, completely bad at football or something like that. He was legit the RB13 in PPR points per game in 2024. So Chuba has been good. Last year he wasn't, though. And I know he had the calf issue going on early, and maybe that does explain everything. But man, guys, I don't know about you. I'm a little bit offended by Chuba's longest run last season only being 14 yards. Okay, so I know the calf was hurting, but Rico Dowdle came in, snatched that job right up. And just the fact that Dave Canales was willing to do that in the first place really does signify something to me, though. Similar sentiment to when, again, we saw Andy Dalton going for Bryce Young. I feel like a lot of coaches out there will kind of go down with the ship, particularly when we're talking about someone like Chuba Hubbard, who just got paid, or like Bryce Young, who was number 1 overall freaking pick, okay? Not so much Dave Canales. Got to respect it. So I think when we're trying to look for running backs in this kind of RB3, RB4 range, they should either be of just the pure ambiguous backfield, and we are going to be talking about some of those guys later, or someone who kind of has that flex with benefits roll down pat. And I do think that's what we're looking at with Brooks. So whether the split is going to be 60-40 in favor of Chuba, maybe 70-30, who knows? Maybe 50-50. We'll know more later, but it does seem weird that guys like Rico Dowdle goes 2 rounds earlier. Guys like Cal Monunga and RJ Harvey go more than a round earlier, when I very much think we could be looking at similar roles. So pretty tough to find. Again, a talented player, still just 23 years old, clearly the number 2 RB with legit takeover upside, even without an injury occurring. So right now, guys, Brooks is going next to QB2s, tight end 2s, and pretty much like the wide receiver 4s. So great point in the draft to go ahead and get these running backs, because that's the other thing. It's kind of the reason why I picked this round 10 cutoff. It might sound a little bit arbitrary, but for me, after the first 9 rounds of your draft, you definitely should have your positional kind of requirements figured out. Okay. Maybe you don't have a quarterback or tight end yet, and you're going to go ahead and, dabble in the late round waters there. Nothing wrong with that or anything, but your starters are going to be there. Okay. So once I have my 5 wide receivers through the first 9 rounds, maybe I'll take a chance on an upside guy late. I like Kayshon Boutte in the last round, for example, because I think his price has a chance to really rise between now and week 1 if he gets traded. But otherwise, I want to be using the majority of my final picks on running backs. I don't need to have 6 running backs, 6 wide receivers. I'm fine going 5 wide receivers and 7 running backs. And if I'm only starting 2 wide receivers, maybe even we go more than that. So again, these late round running backs have a much better chance of being 1 injury away from legit becoming must start options. You have a lot more variables that need to go right for the later round wide receivers. So again, double digit rounds 9 times out of 10. I am preferring the running back over the wide receiver, all things equal. More sleepers to get to, guys. First, though, real quick, I did want to invite you to go check out all of our awesome tools over at rotowire.com. You can find all my articles, a very nice live draft assistant tool that, again, if you are planning on drafting on Yahoo, ESPN Sleeper, you can get all of our expert ranks and our strategy legit live during your draft. Makes things so much easier. We're not done there, though. We also have an awesome waiver wire tool and start sit goodness to help you get you through your season. Code Ian20 for 20% off. Again, you're trying to just get those bragging rights over friends and family this year. Let us help you. Team RotoWire, code Ian20, 20% off. Cool. Jordan Mason, everyone, currently going RB41, pick 120 on Yahoo. And we're just talking Yahoo right now, but he goes round 13 on ESPN in this economy, no less. Did it work out great last year? No. Did I Tout Jordan Mason last year is one of my guys. Yes. And I'm still here, baby. We're going back to the well. I think we were 1 year early on Jordan Mason. I think the reason he mostly didn't pan out in fantasy was the Vikings sucked. Okay. Aaron Jones got injured, paved the way for Mason to kind of be the running back, y'all, in Minnesota for a 4 or 5 week stretch. He was fine. He actually got to play during the Carson Wentz weeks when the offense was moving a little bit better than JJ McCarthy. I believe Mason, when Jones was out, worked as like the RB16 and half PPR points per game. So wasn't necessarily, winning your week in and week out. I know RB16 handcuff value isn't the greatest thing in the world or anything, but all in all, Mason was good last year, okay? All the stats that we use to try to hype up running backs independent of their offensive line and offensive environment tell us that was a reality. And they've really told us that throughout Jordan Mason's entire career. So 5th in next gen stats, yards over expected per carry. He was top 12 in just raw yards per carry too, 4.8. That's a real solid number. And 8th in yards after contact per carry. So this is a big dude who, again, capable of getting downhill, running between the tackles, things that I just don't think are really all that common elsewhere on this Vikings running back depth chart. Aaron Jones is old, all right? 31 years. Vikings made him take a pay cut to stay on the roster. Not ideal. Damon Claiborne, balling out in shorts. I get it, as he should be. He's a pint-sized speedster. Maybe he's the man. I love Dane Brugler, one of my favorite, probably my favorite, single favorite, I should say, NFL draft analyst to follow. He said there's a little bit of a, poor man's Devon Achane there. You see glimpses of Achane. So I don't want to compare every undersized, non-first round speedy running back to Devon Achane or anything. But again, when Brugler says it, you have my attention. I know there's some bigger fans in the fantasy community as well. I'd be very surprised if, again, sub 190-pound Damon Claiborne is ever an active threat to anything Jordan Mason is going to do in the offense. I feel like, if anything, the Jordan Mason role is far more established than it was last year, given the Aaron Jones pay cut. And now given the fact that it could actually be Claiborne more so being an issue to Aaron Jones on passing downs and during his reps in the game. So now Aaron Jones was the starter last year. You might be saying, Ian, why is that going to change all of a sudden? I have it on good authority from one of the best Vikings insiders out there. He didn't even tell me personally. I'm going to talk to him soon, but Matthew Collar over at the Purple Insider, he's on the record, guys. He is saying that he believes it's going to be more so the Jordan Mason show this season. And again, I do think it makes sense when you consider that they only added a 6th-round running back in Damon Claiborne and the fact that they made Aaron Jones take a pay cut. Kind of a weird move to ask your starting running back to take a pay cut and say, yeah, we're still going to feature you, though, every game. No worries. No concerns here. It sounds like they have the similar concern that Green Bay did over the years. Remember, guys, Matt LaFleur always had someone else split in touch with Aaron Jones. I'm old enough to remember the free Aaron Jones movement. And for good reason. The dude was an absolute monster in his prime. But whether it was A.J. Dillon or Jamal Williams, we never quite saw Jones fully leaned on. Vikings tried to do it last year. They did not get an efficient version of him. And unfortunately, he got injured. So I do think that Mason's going to be the lead running back here, particularly on early downs and short yardage, at a price point that's, again, going outside the top 40 freaking running backs here. So is this so different than David Montgomery? I think the Vikings offense probably has a higher ceiling than the Texans. I feel a little better about David Montgomery's week-to-week role and everything. And you can say, well, Jordan Mason has dead zone vibes. The dead zone to me, though, and kind of if you guys have never heard this definition, like a dead zone running back is supposed to be someone who you're drafting purely based on projected volume. You don't think they're this exceptional talent. You don't overly believe in the offense. You don't know if they're going to catch passes or even be in a position to score a lot of touchdowns, but you pull up your projections and that volume looks like it's going to be there. The problem with the dead zone running back, and Mike Davis from the Panthers, a handful of years ago, he's always the poster child for this because he was going like round 4. I agree. I don't want to make that bet in round 4. Round 11? Round 12? Yeah, that's fine. I'll take Jordan Mason 8 days of the week, baby. So last point with last season, Vikings running backs as a whole, guys, they only had 9 rush attempts inside the 5-yard line. That's tied with the Raiders for the 5th fewest in the NFL, okay? So the Jets have always been down there. Like, I don't think we've held Breece Hall not scoring touchdowns against him. It's just been the offense. We don't really seem to hold the J.J. McCarthy experience against Justin Jefferson, against Jordan Addison. Why are we holding that against the running backs too? So Kyler Murray coming in, presumably going to be the week 1 starter. I would expect him to hold into that job for most of the season, if not all of it. We've seen over the years, I've done the studies, running backs with a dual threat quarterback like a Kyler Murray, like a Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, all these kind of like top 10, top 12 dual threat players. We see great returns in their offensive lines and just overall offenses, running back yards before contact per carry, which makes sense, all right? Read option game, the gravity that someone like Kyler has at defensive end cannot just crash down. They need to be mindful of the quarterback being out there. So I can see better efficiency from the Vikings run game as a whole. And unlike guys like Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen, who really factor into the equation near the goal line, which can be a problem. Like that is a reason where Malik Willis is someone, for example, where obviously, not saying much, but a bigger dude than Kyler. I am worried about certain dual threat quarterbacks being a net negative for their running backs because they don't throw them the ball. They scramble instead of checking down in the passing game. And then they factor into the equation near the goal line. I mean, we're not expecting much pass down, if any pass down work for Jordan Mason to begin with. So I feel like that's kind of a moot point. And then again, Kyler Murray, maybe he'll probably score a couple rushing touchdowns this year, but they're going to be off of scrambles or random bootlegs. Like we're not going to see designed rush attempts for Kyler Murray inside the 5-yard line. He's too little for that. So Jordan Mason, dark horse to score double-digit touchdowns this year and an improved Vikings offense, going RB41. Sign me up for that, man. Next up, Eagles RB2, Tank Bigsby. I don't know, but I think this is more of a pure handcuff play. Very interesting notes out of training camp, though. Allegedly, early on, more of a 50-50 split. Now, this can just be a thing in practice. I'm rocking my UChicago shirt right now. Shout out Maroons. I played Division III football for a year, guys. One entire tackle to my name, right? So I certainly know what I'm talking about here. But, okay, I only bring that up to say, when we were installing, I was 4th-string middle linebacker coming in, all right? I got the same amount of reps in the first handful of practices as the first-team guys. But you establish the depth chart, and then you start splitting it up. I'm sure there's something very similar going on in the NFL rooms as well. So, no, I'm not saying that Tank Bigsby is going to be splitting reps with Saquon Barkley, but the fact there's any chatter about it is a good thing. And even if there's not, we're still talking about a legit S-tier handcuff purely from the injury contingent upside. I had a handcuff RB tier video go up recently. Check that guys out if you want to. It's a free country, though I won't be offended if you don't. It's more of an art than science because you have to balance the standalone value with the injury contingent upside, right? Who do I think has more standalone value? Tyrone Tracy or Tank Bigsby? I mean, it's probably Tracy. But who do I want to start if Saquon Barkley and Cam Scott would go down? Definitely Tank Bigsby. So I think it's even better than that, though. If we had every starting running back, I don't even want to put the bad voodoo in the air and say that they get injured. Let's say every starting running back decides to go on strike. They all go hang out in the Bahamas or some shit like that. Ranking the running backs at that point, I think Travion Henderson is probably RB1. I think Blake Corum is RB2. I'll give Rico Dowdle some respect and go RB3. I think you can go as high as RB4 for Tank Bigsby at that point. Kyle Monunga's in there. Jonathan Brooks, who we talked about, is in there. I think Ray Davis, Chris Rodriguez in the conversation. I don't feel great about Tracy, given the offense. Brian Robinson, given the offense. Tyler Algier, given the offense. Tank Bigsby, 4th most valuable handcuff in the league, injury contingent. Maybe even higher. Maybe you're like Rico Dowdle. What are you talking about, Ian? Fair point. So overall, man, I just think that Tank Bigsby, he's one injury away from being on the cover of every single waiver wire article. Again, I mentioned the price point here. RB53, pick 132. And oh yeah, guys, he's really freaking good. All these stats that we used to hype up any running back, you're going to see Tank Bigsby's name near the top. And it's not even this super small sample size, all right? A lot of times, the Keaton Mitchell stuff, those types of running backs, minimum 63 carries out here. Last 2 seasons, 44 running backs have at least 200 carries, okay? Tank Bigsby is 1st in yards after contact per carry. He's 2nd in tackles avoided per carry. He's 5th in explosive rush rate, 8th in yards per carry at 4.9, man. This dude did great things in Jacksonville in 2024, and he was damn good with his opportunities in Philly last year. I know Saquon was running against the first teamers. Tank Bigsby was coming in the 4th quarter, icing the game away, getting a lot of run against the Raiders and the Giants. Like, believe me, Saquon's better than Tank Bigsby. I'm not doubting that. There are still some nice flashes. He converted that 2nd and 31 run. You can see Eagles coaches and players just going freaking nuts on the sideline for this dude. He's apparently been very impressive in training camp. Saquon's getting up there in age, 29. I still love betting on Saquon this year, but man, if you're drafting Saquon like I am at the round 1-2 turn, why not? Go ahead and ensure your RB, 1 spot with someone like Tank Bigsby. Because Saquon goes down. I'm not saying, again, we had this scenario where every starting running back's out. We're ranking take Bigsby inside the top 5. I don't think if Saquon goes down, every starting running back is still very much healthy, not on strike. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Bigsby's this automatic can't miss top 10 dude, because Will Shipley could still mix it on pass downs. We still got to deal with the tush push stuff that obviously hinders Saquon when we're projecting this sort of stuff out. But I have a really hard time thinking he'd be outside the top 15. We could see the first game. He gets 20 plus carries, 2 or 3 targets. Eagles offense is looking good. Could be looking really, really nice for Tank Bigsby if just one guy misses a little bit of time. So I know the Eagles O-line getting a little bit older. I know they lost their O-line coach. I try to defer out some of the offensive line stuff to people who are actually studying it. One of those guys who I really respect is Brandon Thorne over at Establish the Run. He's got the Eagles O-line second. RotoWire. Love my company. We have offensive line ranks. We have them third. So, yeah, if half the line gets hurt again, it's not going to be ideal. But isn't that kind of true for every offensive line running back in the league? Tank Bigsby for me, priority handcuff late. Get him on the squad. All right, guys, next running back. We got Jaguars RB2, 1A, 1B. Chris Rodriguez. I'm Team Tootin. I am. More and more, I am just like, Bashaw Tootin could be anything. He could be DeAndre Swift even. Why not just draft DeAndre Swift? Kind of at the same point. I didn't like the fact that C-Rod had this foot injury going on this summer, but he's out there practicing, and it seems like it's behind him, okay? We got Liam Cohen saying that Chris Rodriguez is a glass eater. God, football coaches just have the best things to describe their running backs with. And you know what? There's quite a bit to like here, all right? No, I don't think Rodriguez should be going in front of Tootin. I think Tootin, when you consider the pass game upside, the best case scenario for Tootin is, I think, working as a low-end RB1 Chase Brown type. All right, that's kind of been the common rhetoric thrown around, that he could be looking at the similar ascension that Chase Brown had going from his rookie to year 2 and year 3 and everything. That's Tootin's best case. I think Chris Rodriguez's best case is kind of like the best version of David Montgomery in Detroit. That was a damn good running back. And when this gulf between them and their ADP is as big as it is right now, hey, I'm cool with C-Rod, man. RB 56, pick 132 on Yahoo right now. Round 12 for the probable short yardage guy in Jacksonville. That's kind of what it sounds like right now, man. Dude's got history with his head coach, ran for 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns at Kentucky with Liam Cohen calling those plays. No, I don't think 2 years, $10 million is Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs money. Still in the same range as guys like Rico Dowdle and Jordan Mason, guys who we fully expect to have this, 50-50 kind of timeshare in their own backfields. And he's just so reliable, man. Think about the issues with Bashaw Tootin. It was ball security coming out. It was, hey, can he actually read his blocks right? Is his vision good enough? We all remember that one swing pass against the Chiefs on like Monday Night Football where he ran to the back of his guy. I think C-Rod is similar to, honestly, Rachaad White in that they do all the little things right. And I think when the coach draws up a play and tries to envision how it goes, I think Rodriguez more consistently puts that into practice than Bashaw Tootin. Last season, Chris Rodriguez was 4th in success rate. Success rate, very cool stat. It's better than yards per carry because, again, it just takes the down and distance into account. 1 yard on 3rd and 1 is a successful play. 1 yard on 3rd and 1 yards per carry just goes down as 1 yard. So 4th in success rate. Now, Tootin was good in success rate too, but we're hyping up Rodriguez right now. Only 3 running backs last season had at least 100 combined carries and targets with 0 drops and 0 fumbles. Rachaad White, Brian Robinson, and yes, Chris Rodriguez as well. The issue here, the lack of, again, sky-high upside would actually just be the pass down stuff. He's only got 6 receptions in 35 NFL games, only 20 in 45 college games. But man, we have all these ambiguous backfields. Pittsburgh, Rico and Warren, they're squeezing up, Minnesota, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. I just hyped up Jordan Mason. I believe in Jordan Mason, but they're still pretty close in ADP. Carolina, I see Brooks go ahead of Chuba. They're getting squeezed. Washington, I lean Rachaad White, and honestly, it could have included the Washington running backs too. I think at their respective prices, Bill Krosky-Mara and Rachaad White, like why not just throw a dart at either? Denver, you see Dobbins, you see Harvey, even Jonah Coleman. These guys go pretty close. Jacksonville's the one that we really just seem to be certain. And again, I do think Tootin deserves to be going higher than Rodriguez. I have him ranked higher. I'll continue to have him ranked higher, but RB 56 on Yahoo, Chris Rodriguez, fantastic late round pick. Chris Rodriguez, Jordan Mason. Again, poor man's versions of Dave Montgomery, but would we be that shocked in these offenses, especially Jacksonville, man? We expect them to be good. We think Minnesota could be good too. Rodriguez and Mason, if they fall into the end zone from the 1 or 2 yard line 8 to 10 times this year, shouldn't shock anyone. Last sleeper running back I will be looking strongly to draft in the double-digit rounds. Chargers RB2, Keaton Mitchell, baby. That's right. RB57, pick 132.9 in the Yahoo streets. Again, someone pretty much being disregarded at the moment. Reminder, Mike McDaniel put wanted posters of this dude all over their GM's office. Just would have loved to be a fly on the wall when he walks into a, Office Max, Staples, whatever the freaking store is that you go get copies, and someone actually happened to serve Mike McDaniel, probably, eyes bloodshot as all hell. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but here's Mike McDaniel on Keaton Mitchell more recently in training camp. He's had a chance to actually watch this guy do his thing. He's a matchup issue for every defense. I think he has a lot of pass game value that he hasn't been able to really represent in his career, but it's showing so far in camp. Kind of adds up, guys. We saw the viral downfield wheel catch, in camp. Something Travion Henderson allegedly does every day. Still haven't seen it in the game. That's not the here nor there. Keaton Mitchell, though, he's got 19 of 24 career targets for 184 yards. I went back and watched him. Yeah, most of them screens, just getting him kind of the ball in space. But guess what? You get this dude the ball in space, really good things happen. You guys know that Vince McMahon GIF meme thing? He's special. Yeah. Week 7 through 13? Rookie year Keaton Mitchell. Special, guys. Kind of threw him under the bus a little bit earlier with the small sample size, yards per carry. But you know what? It is a sample size. Career average of 6.3 yards per carry only trails Amari DiMercato in Super Bowl history, man. I know we're not hyping up Amari DiMercato the same way. I understand both these guys. The nature of being an undersized speed pass down back, you're going to have higher yards per carry unless you're RJ Harvey. Just saying. Defenses aren't going to load the box the same way. It makes sense. But he's fast as hell, an offense that loves speed, an offense with a coordinator who we've seen weaponize said speed better than pretty much anyone else out there. The best thing that we've had, think about it. If you just only drafted running backs from the McShanahan and then now McDaniel offenses over the last 10 years, you're feeling pretty freaking good, guys. I think Mitchell needs to make the most out of his 8 to 10 touches. I don't think he has the same handcuff upside as some of the guys we talked about because Kamani Vidal could very well factor in. He's a good... I'm in, some of these drafts, 20 rounds, all right? 20 rounds, Kamani Vidal at the very end could make some sense for you guys. I think it could be like Buffalo. If James Cook goes down in this scenario, we're obviously talking about Omari and Hampton. James Cook goes down, and even though Ray Davis is the RB3 more weeks than not, he steps up into more of that prime early down role. Ty Johnson's role doesn't really change. I think Keaton Mitchell will be the guy whose role doesn't really change, and Kamani Vidal ends up seeing that bigger increase in usage with Omari and Hampton potentially being out of the picture. But maybe not, man. And if there was going to be an offense that we should try to get complementary players from, I do think it's the Chargers. So I said it all off season. We are going down with the Chargers ship if they're going to suck. But I don't think they're going to suck. I think this is a healthy, badass offensive line with one of the most talented QBs in the league and a play caller who is smart enough to put everything together. And the fact that Keaton Mitchell is a part of that really is great. So honestly, as well, premier option for you guys if you only found yourself with one running back outside the first, 4 or 5 rounds or so, the hero RB build, okay? Which I think you can pull off, but when you do that, you can't just put 5 handcuffs on your bench. You got to be worried about that RB2. We need guys like the Tajay Spears of the world, like the Keaton Mitchells of the world, who can get you those 8 to 10 touches per week and at least keep you alive. You know what I'm saying? I can't be starting Tank Bigsby in week 1. I could be starting Keaton Mitchell in week 1. He's, again, got that big play, potential pass catching ability to potentially be a lot more. So Keaton Mitchell, long story short, Mike McDaniel put up wanted posters of the man. All right, let's not overthink this. RB57, fantastic value in my humble opinion. So quick recap again, everyone. Jonathan Brooks, RB36, pick 110 over on Yahoo. Jordan Mason, RB41, pick 120. Tank Bigsby, RB53, pick 132. Chris Rodriguez, RB56, pick 132. Keaton Mitchell, RB57, pick 133. So you see the overall pick numbers get closer because the drafts are ending at this point. So literally not even seeing Mitchell Mitchell and Rodriguez be drafted all the time. So it is still early August. I understand these ADPs are going to evolve, but you know what? It is early August, okay? And I feel like some years we just sit here waiting for the ADPs to evolve, and then all of a sudden week one is actively here. So as these things stand right now, these guys are 5 of my favorite RB sleepers available late in drafts. So again, going to depend on how you're building up your roster. I do think if you find yourself with, again, only one running back early, you probably would want to be throwing a dart at the Washington backfield or some of these other situations before taking on someone who's maybe going to be more of a pure backup. But all things considered, and if you do kind of leave your first 9 rounds of the draft with a pretty balanced roster, already got 2 or 3 quality RBs, these would be the 5 guys that I am going after. But hey, if you guys disagree, if you think I left someone out, let me know in the comments. Always appreciate chatting it up with you guys. And yeah, good things to say, bad things to say. All feedback is appreciated. If you like the video, please like the video, and hitting that subscribe button really does help us out as well. So very excited to, again, be barking my ball all season long with you guys over here at RotoWire. And yeah, actually have some ball. I'm recording this on Thursday tonight in the Hall of Fame game. Oh my goodness, tackle football is back. I am truly pumped to finally, after so many freaking months, be back watching 11 on 11 car crashes with my own 2 eyes. But anyway, guys, I will stop rambling. Thank you again for tuning in. Check out RotoWire for all your fantasy football needs. And otherwise, just have a great rest of your day.